Ever wondered why your teenage years feel like a blurry dream? Or why those super vivid memories from your early teens suddenly become impossible to recall? Turns out, science might finally have an answer, and it's way more fascinating than just blaming hormones. A groundbreaking new study on mice reveals that our brains actively erase certain adolescent memories, not by deleting them, but by locking them away temporarily. And the reason? A literal mesh of protein that acts like a cage around brain cells. Let me unpack this, because trust me, it changes how we think about memory, mental health, and why our teenage brains are wired to forget. /n/n, so here's the wild part. Memories formed in early adolescence don't just fade, they become inaccessible. Researchers found that a protein mesh called perineuronal nets, which wrap around specific neurons, start thinning out halfway through adolescence. When that mesh breaks down, the brain loses access to those earlier memories. But, and this is crucial, they're not gone forever. In mice, these memories resurfaced in adulthood, but like a faded Polaroid photo. The details were stripped, the emotional weight stayed. Personally, I think this explains why so many of us have those "wait, did that actually happen?" moments when we try to recall our teenage years. It's not just bad memory, it's biology saying, not right now. /n/n now. Let's get into the why. Why would evolution design a system that hides our adolescent memories? The study points to the retrosplenial cortex, the brain's vault for older memories, as the key player here. But here's the twist. This region isn't static. It's rebuilding its entire structural scaffold during adolescence. Those protein nets aren't just passive shields, they're active gatekeepers. And when they degrade, they don't just let memories slip, they block access to them. What makes this really interesting is how it challenges the old assumption that the brain finishes developing in early teens. Nope. Turns out, your brain is tearing down and rebuilding its own architecture well into your 20s. Which raises a bigger question. Is this memory blackout a flaw? Or a feature? /n/ and the researchers tested this by shocking mice in a specific chamber. Young mice conditioned at 29 days old forgot the trauma after 6 weeks. But when they got a single reminder shock in a new environment, the original memory came roaring back. That's not just cool. It's profound. It shows the memory wasn't erased, it was suppressed. From my perspective, this hints at a deeper mechanism. The adolescent brain is prioritizing flexibility over fidelity. Think about it. Teenage years are all about adapting to new environments, social hierarchies, identities. Holding on to rigid early memories might actually be a liability. But there's a dark side. This same period of plasticity overlaps with when disorders like schizophrenia and depression often first emerge. Coincidence? Probably not. /n/ and the real kicker? This process is driven by a single protein, TGF-beta2. When researchers injected it into the brains of adolescent mice, the protein mesh stayed intact, and the memory blackout never happened. That's not just a technical win. It's a window into potential treatments for mental health disorders. But here's a detail I find fascinating. The memories that return in adulthood are emotionally charged but factually fuzzy. Sound familiar? Humans have this thing called the reminiscence bump, where we vividly recall emotions from our teens but struggle with specifics. This study might explain why. Our brains aren't just forgetting, they're curating. /n/n, so what's the big picture? This research rewrites our understanding of memory development. Forget the idea that the brain matures by early teens. Instead, it's undergoing a massive renovation project, swapping stability for adaptability. And that trade-off might be both a strength and a vulnerability. If we apply this to humans, considering our brains don't fully mature until the mid-20s, what does that mean for how we treat adolescence? Maybe those lost memories aren't just random gaps. Maybe they're the price we pay for the chance to grow into who we're supposed to become. But I'll leave you with this. If our brains can hide memories, what else are they hiding? And what happens when we finally find the key to unlock it?